After Black Adam, I was pretty worried about the DC universe, but Shazam is a lot of fun.
One more time. Yeah, we're ready.
Hey everyone, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor at CinemaBlend, and I'm here to give you a spoiler-free review of the new DC film Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It's a film we've been waiting for a while now. It's one of the ones that got pushed back. Its date kept getting postponed. Now it's landing in March at a very busy time when we have multiple sequels that are fending for your attention. And I want to tell you guys why I think this one is worth checking out.
Because I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady.
I know a lot of people are saying, like, do I even bother with Shazam? Is it going to be part of the DCU moving forward? And I think that even just as a movie in and of itself, it's worth your time, and I have a bunch of different reasons why. So listen, we talk about DC all the time on our channel here, so make sure you hit subscribe. There's a couple big surprises in the movie, and I'm not going to discuss those at all later on. After you guys have had a chance to see the movie, Hannah and I will get back together. We're going to do a DC video, I'm sure.
Oh, what fun we're going to have together.
But without further ado, a spoiler-free review of the new film, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I want to start off by just saying that the new movie is more confident, and it's a strange compliment to give to a sequel, but it really does feel like David Sandberg, the director, and his entire cast know that they succeeded with the first Shazam movie, and so they're going into this with more of a belief in the type of story that they want to tell. It leans heavily into the foster family that Billy Batson finds himself part of, and all the different members of that family get their chance to shine, with some really interesting character arcs that move them all forward. There's great Shazam action throughout the course of it. I know there wasn't a ton of it in the first movie, but this one seems to have more action sprinkled all the way throughout. And it's sort of spread out throughout the sequel so that the thing never really slows down. It's got a really great pace to it, which I think is something that they also needed to sort of tighten up from the first movie. And again, it just feels like David Sandberg understands this world a little bit better, believes that there's an audience out there that wants to see the type of Shazam movie that he can deliver, and therefore he doubles down on all of the cool things that worked really, really well, and they come together, I thought, in a really strong way in Fury of the Gods. Now, by that extension, I also think that Warner Brothers shows they're more confident in the Shazam universe because this one looks more expensive. Not that Shazam looked cheap necessarily, but you could tell they kind of like shot in Toronto, instead of Philadelphia, and that they use green screen whenever possible. And the suit kind of looked a little homemade. It wasn't really like what you'd see from the Snyderverse. Shazam looked a little bit mid-budget, which was okay.
It shouldn't work, but hot damn it does!
That was fine. I mean, it's an origin story. It's about a kid who turns into a superhero. How much money do you want to pour into it? But the visual effects in Shazam! Fury of the God are next level. They look fantastic. Rachel Zegler's powers, the way that they're visualized on screen, are really, really terrific. And then there's a whole aspect that involves creature design. And in fact, the dragon, who you get to see significantly in the trailers, it looks better than some of the dragons that we got to see on screen in Game of Thrones, even. Like, I think it's an impressive visual effect.
Hey, Khaleesi!
You see a brief shot of it in the trailers of the Shazam family riding on unicorns. And all of this, I thought, looked really, really good. I mean, much better than I anticipated from the Shazam corner of the DC universe. I thought that would be where DC kind of let its lower budget type stuff go, and then James Wan could spend, $500 million trying to bring Aquaman to life underneath the sea.
I mean, honestly, what could we do with that that's cool?
I don't know, maybe command an army of billions in the ocean?
But Warner Brothers seems to believe in what David Sandberg did in the first Shazam, and seems to have upped his budget because at the very least, it looks much, much better on the big screen. Now, also because of that, the film does a really good job of leaning into the magical aspects that come with Shazam. And we got to see some of this in the first movie, but the first movie had to be an origin story for Billy and to kind of explain how he got the powers of Shazam from the wizard. But we spent a lot more time, because the Shazam family has all their powers now, we spent a lot more time in their lair. And through the lair, dive much, much deeper into the magic, and again, allow visual effects to sort of tap into the whimsy that's supposed to come with Shazam. That's tough to dance around. Let's just say that there are a lot of different places that Shazam as a franchise can potentially go, and we get a hint of that in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And a lot of it is based on its roots in magic. It reminded me a little bit of Harry Potter.
Okay.
It's its own unique little, landscape that still fits into the DC universe, but leans heavily on the fact that magic is an important part of the Shazam character. And so we go to some places that I didn't expect to go to, again, that are rooted in the magic that form Shazam and the Shazam family. And I think it works really, really well in the sequel and sets up where we can go. I think there's an unlimited amount of stories that you can tell in the Shazam universe because magic is involved. And you'll see by the end of Fury of the Gods that that is hinted at and definitely feels like a way that David Sandberg or whoever wants to direct could take the Shazam franchise moving forward. Which means that this is a perfect movie, right? Well, I mean, not exactly. I still feel like the villains in Shazam, who are personified by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu and Rachel Zegler, are a little bit too familiar to what we got from Mark Strong in the first movie. They are powerful gods who are upset that the power of Shazam was given to children, and basically they want to steal that power back. That was Mark Strong's motivation in this one.
What do you want?
What do I want? I want.
And that is the motivation of the Daughters of Atlas.
Give us the powers, child.
But when you boil it down, it really does come back down to Shazam not feeling that he's truly worthy of the powers that have been given to him by the wizard, and is he actually the true champion?
I feel like a fraud.
And when you get to the fact that so much of his hinted of where Shazam can go, if it really decided to blow the doors off, it was slightly disappointing that the story still stayed rooted in, here are some powerful wizards that want to come and take your powers away from you, Billy Batson. I want to find out where Shazam is going to go from here moving forward, and I hope we get out of Philadelphia, get out of the fact that somebody wants to take these powers away from this boy.
And get as far away from this place as you can.
You know, don't lose touch with the Foster family, but explore that aspect of the humanity of the character from a different angle, and really show us what type of Shazam stories that you want to tell and can tell in this soon to be rebooted, but still kind of consistent DC universe moving forward. Oh yeah, as a side note as well too, there was a mid-credit scene at the end of the first Shazam that teased Dr. Sivana teaming up with Mr. Mind. That doesn't get explored at all in this movie. No! No! But I spoke to the screenwriters, Chris Morgan and Henry Gayden, and they mentioned that for a little while they did try to bring Mr. Mind into their plot as maybe a way to sort of set up the Daughters of Atlas, but it kind of got too complicated and it was pulling them too far away from the story that they wanted to tell.
I named the gods, Doctor, not the other way around.
So they did even say, like, we can explore that character a little bit further down the line, and I feel like if they wanted to, that would bring Shazam even more into the weirdness that is kind of unique to this franchise, but don't look for it in this movie coming out.
Don't beat yourself up, buddy.
All of that being said, I'm going to give Shazam Fury of the Gods a very strong 3.5 stars out of 5. I loved the new characters with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu and Rachel Zegler. I think Zegler is an absolute star who's going to become a sensation. She's West Side Story. She's going to be in the new Hunger Games. She's going to be Snow White. She's blowing up, and people are going to look back at her performance as Shazam and say, oh, wow, this is one of the springboards. Jack Dylan Grazer steals this movie. He and Jaimin Hansu together are hysterical. You guys are going to love what they do in this movie. I'm glad that he got more of an opportunity to shine as well, too. And I just think that there's better Shazam action in this one than there was in the original film. It's hard to compare the two because that one was such an origin story. It had to feel a little bit smaller, but this one's bigger in all the places I wanted it to be bigger. And I think that it's a really fun DC universe movie moving forward. So definitely, I think you guys need to check it out. There are things that we're going to want to dig into in this film, believe me. But it's gonna have to wait until after you see it. You guys know that Hannah and I do DC videos here on CinemaBlend's YouTube channel, so you're gonna want to be here when we dive into the specifics of Shazam. In order to make sure that you see or hear that video, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and as soon as that video drops, you guys can dig into some of our fun theorizing about Shazam, The Flash, and the future of the DC universe.